This is the Reluctant Leader podcast, brought to you by the Reluctant Leader Academy. I'm your host, Mark Terrell, and in each episode I will invite an expert guest to discuss a topic or subject that will enhance your knowledge and hopefully inspire you on your leadership journey. If managing people is becoming your biggest headache, then check out the How to Lead Your Team with Confidence course and join the next group program starting soon. So let's see who's in the hot seat today. Today I'm talking to Paul Smith. Paul is the owner of Word Gets Around, a marketing agency based in Taunton, Somerset. Paul helps people and businesses to market themselves more effectively and to connect, grow and flourish. He has been a graphic designer for over 20 years and launched his business in 2011. He also runs a popular business networking group alongside this, and with his father, they have 2 community magazines. Paul is energized by seeing his customers and clients succeed, by joining up the dots to successful marketing, and community is at the heart of everything they do. Hope you enjoy this chat we had about connecting to your community, and I will catch you all on the other side. Paul, welcome to the Reluctant Leader podcast.
Hi Mark, thanks for having me.
I've been looking forward to this, as I look forward to all my conversations, but you've been such a pivotal part of the Reluctant Leader story that it was about time I got you on to talk about something, and I think we've come up with a subject which just suits you down to the ground, which we'll talk about in a while. But before we get stuck into that, the question I ask all my guests is, why do you do what you do, and what was the pivotal moment that took you down this path?
Some great questions there. Why do I do what I do? I've always been interested in creating something from nothing and working with people, which is, as a designer, I'm often the sort of starting point for a new business. So I love being a part of their journey to kind of get them started, to launch their business, and be a part of that and kind of help them in any way I can. Really, I've always been interested in working with different people from different backgrounds from quite an early age. And, I think it's the last 10 years that I've run my business. I've had a real pleasure in helping so many businesses that have gone on to succeed. And that really fulfills me and motivates me to help more people, really. In terms of sort of a pivotal moment, I was employed for a company many years ago, for a print company, which I really enjoyed working there. It was a great team of people, and but there was kind of limitations on where I could go in terms of my role there at the time, and I guess there was a lot of frustration with really being able to grow, and I felt I had lots more ideas and things I wanted to do my own way. The opportunities weren't there. I then left there and I worked for an agency for a while. Very small company. I was the first employee there, but the actual business owner had worked with some of the largest. He worked for Interbrand, some of the really big businesses across the world, including Oxfam. He did work with the Met Office locally. He still had clients doing that. And really enjoyed it. So I kind of went from a very fast-paced world of print, where it's literally sat in an office and there's 2 or 3 designers, and you're putting out probably 5 or 6 different jobs a day to get them to print, to change into working with somebody where there's a lot more time, there's a lot more strategy involved, and it really opened my eyes to more thought process behind creativity, and really enjoying that. The pivotal moment in terms of my business, I worked for him for 5 months, and sadly, he felt that he needed somebody that was more web-based, because lots was happening at the time in the creative markets. And so sadly, he said, unfortunately, I'm going to need to let you go. I need to get on the more digital route. And of course, my background was in print. So I kind of found myself very shocked in the new year. We parted on good terms. I'm still talked these days, to this day, of course. But I kind of found myself in this situation where, right, okay, I'm back at home. The kettle's still warm, and I'm suddenly not at my desk that I thought I would be. I'm now in a position where I can do whatever I want. And that was really, really exciting, because all the things that lots of us sort of want to do, but maybe don't push ourselves to do it. Suddenly, I had to do it. I had to make things happen. So it's been a real whirlwind, and I always describe it as kind of like to people like a jack in a box that is full of energy and excitement that was kind of locked away for a long time. So when I kind of burst onto the scene in terms of the business, I just threw myself into everything, and it's been an incredible journey in the last 10 years, Mark. And it's been great to work with you, as part of this podcast and see this flourish for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We met, I don't know, what it was about 4 years ago when we were in a mastermind group, weren't we? And, you never know where these things take you. And, when you started to help me with my business, you just, like you say, you just never know where it's going to take you. And that's the interesting part. So, that's a great story, Paul. And I think there's obviously this is only part of your journey, and it's obviously you're going in a certain direction. And what's been interesting recently is that you've really grasped that importance to connect with your local community, and that's obviously what we're going to be talking about today. But first, I think the first thing to talk about is the relevance of print, because I think a lot of people get and you've just told the story of somebody that didn't see the value in print and wanted to concentrate on digital products. But you've stuck with the print. It's a major part of your business, and I guess it's worth sort of discussing around that and how you see that working and how it has worked for you, and how do you see it working in the future?
No, that's no. Thanks for asking that, because it's something I'm very passionate about, working in the background for print. And just for those listeners, so we've kind of got three areas to our business, which is we run a business networking group local in Taunton. I'm a graphic designer, so I do lots of design for print, lots of logo design and websites. But we also have 2 community magazines, and the challenge has been to fit those all together. And a lot of my friends said to me when we launched the magazine 5 years ago, why are you launching a magazine now? Because it's all online. And the thing I say to them is, because everything's online, and when you're building your business and you've got touch points that people can reach you in, it's important you don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And it depends on, there's different kind of people that find you in different ways, whether it's on LinkedIn or whether it's a network, an event, or they connect on Twitter. Print is very important. There's thousands, millions of websites. There's thousands and thousands of us online, all screaming for attention amongst all that digital noise. At the end of the day, there's only one letterbox. And something comes through your door that, if it's right for your business, print has, a much higher retention rate than things online. Lots of the stats on digital things are a bit skewed, so you might get a list, it's had 2,000 impressions. Well, sometimes some of the channels count it as a view if someone scrolled past it on their phone. Whereas if you've got something tangible that's real, that comes to you and you can refer back to, it's not lost amongst that sea of noise. And I think that's the beauty of print, is when people can see that actually it's working them all together. It's multiple touch points that are in harmony, so that people pick up your message for your business and they read it in print. They meet you at the events that you go to, the conversations you have on your social channels, and that it all fits together nicely. So the magazine's been great. We started with 4,000 copies, and now we're up to 30,000 in Taunton. And we launched a West Somerset one last November to see how it goes, and it just really took off. Because which we've learned a lot this year, is the value in community and local people wanting to know about local stories, local trusted, people. And we're really excited right now to link print to digital and showcase people in our communities, the faces behind the business, because a lot of stuff gets lost online. It's easy to sort of, say this, that, or the other, but actually there's much more evidence and transparency to things. And for us, it's exciting that we can bring it all together as an overall sort of platform for people to use for their business.
Yeah, and I've talked about this a few times, and I can remember when you had an office at the cricket ground. You very excitedly told me about this idea you had with the magazine, and then you were going to do some interviews and roving reporter and a Facebook, and it all. I could see that the enthusiasm there, and I could see how it would work. And I think our situation that we've just been through with or going through really with COVID and lockdown has probably crystallized that idea. And I've seen you've been doing some things. You've just got a YouTube channel you set up with interviewing local businesses. So that, I guess, that idea of linking up the printed with the digital and using that effectively is something that you've really started to sort of bring to life.
Yeah, it's been, obviously it's been a very difficult year for lots of people, and for us, we've all gone on our own path throughout all of this, and we'd got to a point. I've kind of transitioned a lot of my time to growing the community magazines because it's really important to us and supporting local businesses. So we've been building this up for over 5 years, and then always our busiest issue is the May-June one because it's kind of coming into the summer. People want to start promote things to do, etc. And we had all these bookings in, and we suddenly found ourselves in this position where we lost 2 months of income. And, none of us really saw it happening. But what surprised me was it happened so quick. We lost thousands of pounds in 2 days of cancellations. And I was just like, okay, wow, okay, let's see how this is going to go. And you kind of think, oh no, like the stack of cards have fallen down. So I took a couple of days out and, going out on these walks, which lots of us have been getting out and about a lot more. And I look back and thought over the last 10 years, what is really important to us? And it's been useful. It's connecting people, which we've done with the networking group locally for over 8 years. And I thought it's being visible. I know as somebody who works in marketing, it's about being in people's eye, in mind's eye, that they see you about, that you're doing things. So there's, as you'll know, that knowing you for a number of years, there's always been these things in the back of my mind to do more things online, more video. And I guess sometimes I do need that kick, like I said about, the job when I found myself in setting up the business. For me, there was an opportunity. It's like, well, we've got this platform, we've got this local network of people that we know. Just started doing little interviews with people to showcase a timeline of what they're going through that is like a time capsule that we can look back on, snapshots of different businesses and what they've gone through. And it's opened up lots of doors. It's helped move our business forwards. It's helped us in terms of reaching new people. I had conversations with more people on LinkedIn than ever. The really good news, which I can share, is we've been able to get some funding now to help us expand this across other communities across Somerset, which I'm absolutely over the moon with, because this time that I've invested in helping these people and growing this platform, we've now got it recognized that we've got a good platform that's proven that's worked that we can build upon. So yeah, it's really exciting, Mark.
Brilliant. I'm really pleased for you because I knew that it's something that you wanted to do, and this connecting with the community is almost like something you naturally do. And I think that you talked about the importance of dropping something through someone's letterbox, and that thing that we used to do without thinking about, now we don't do because nobody seems to want to do it. But now those we've got to revisit, I think, maybe old ideas that we just freshen them up. So I think it'd be worth just describing the sort of content that you put in the magazine, because I'm guessing it's a blend of sort of advertising with local events.
Yeah, I mean, it has evolved, and it's been nice to see it. And we've had to sort of find our, there's other magazines locally that we've had to find where we sit amongst that. Because we're at the moment we're a bi-monthly magazine. We're looking to go monthly, so that's exciting. We'll need some more support to do that, to be able to do that. To start with, the magazine was, obviously it's paid for by advertising, and we've got local businesses in there. And to start with, we had content that. We had a lot of content early on that was stuff that was we signed up to a magazine platform online, and you got given free content you could use, etc. And that was fine. That was okay. And we had some little bits of local news, etc., etc. My main kind of gripe with it is, to be a truly local community magazine, it needs to have content from local people. So we've worked hard in building those relationships. So now we have regular writers from the areas that exactly where we live. We have a wonderful guy called John Fish who writes book reviews. With Martin Strauss, who writes about drinks. And actually, I'm going to be working with Martin to launch, again off the back of this situation with what's been going on. We're going to be launching a cocktail and drinks, where Martin's going to showcase his expertise. Years, he's retired now, but he's got years and years worked around the world, where he's going to be telling people to make cocktails at home, which we're excited about. And then we've got Joe, who writes about lifestyle, and we have a local historian. So they're all local people that people know that are active on social media in our area where we are, and want to build on that more. So the more that the magazine grows, in terms of more people that support us advertise, the more we can give back, and giving pages dedicated to local information. We always give 25% of our content to local issues. So the next issue, already working on that. There's a local sort of Taunton urban farm project, which is wonderful. I spoke to the guy this week. All volunteer-led, all sort of self-funded through sale of growing crops and this, that, the other. And it helps people, it transforms people's lives. He was telling me a lot of the people that help out have got special needs, and it's for them. It's perfect for us because it's a great positive story. We only showcase positive stuff. We don't put, this has happened, or have you seen this person that got mugged, etc. That's not really us. We're about stories and storytelling, and I think that's the key thing for people listening is that whatever happened 100 years ago, or 100 years from now, or 500 years from now, whatever kit we've got to use, we're always going to be interested in storytelling. So, we always have, through stories back from the Bible and things like that and other religions, people want to know about people's lives, and we're fascinated by it, which is why we like these kind of documentaries about fly on the wall stuff. So people sharing their stories and celebrating people doing great things in the local community, that's what makes us tick. And with the video stuff, we can only we can build on that now, that we want to showcase the people behind the business. So maybe they're not too au fait with technology, but we can do all that for them. We can go in and we can do a quick interview. So if you're looking for a local plumber, for example, we can showcase the person that's the plumber. And he or she might just say, hello, I'm this plumber in your local area, and, I'd be happy to help you. And it's those communities and seeing the people behind it that binds us, really. And so for us, it's a very exciting time, with how things are developing.
And I think the important thing not to forget here, Paul, is that some people need that catalyst. Somebody need that inspiration to make things happen, and within your community, I see you doing things that people aren't doing themselves, and you're bringing them out of themselves, doing things that they probably wouldn't do if you didn't suggest it. And that's the important thing is, you're doing your bit, but you're bringing out the best in people in the area, and that's the thing to remember, isn't it? What can you give, and actually also what opportunities do you see that maybe some individual can't see for themselves? And we all need that feedback, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. I think I think this sort of time particularly it's been a lot of time for people to reflect on what's important and what motivates them, and where they can make a real difference. I think it's shown, particularly, I think this time as the importance of, I think it's been a time for platforms like Facebook to shine with communities, particularly with people wanting to help out, maybe helping out those more vulnerable, sort of elderly areas that, I know in where I am, there's been some amazing community groups that have popped up and it's funny because one of the ladies locally I've got to know, and actually she was part of the video that I recorded. They've become like local celebrities because these people have set up groups. People have, while we've been, some of us, locked away and stuck at our homes, actually you felt a lot closer to people than you ever have before. And that's kind of strange because, usually it's all face to face, and we're all, of course, craving that when we can meet people more face to face. But it was weird. I bumped into the lady that I spoke to, to kind of help set this group up. I bumped into her when we were allowed to go out in one of the hardware stores, and it was like meeting a celebrity because I'd not met her, and it sort of tickled me really that we, people are doing great things locally, and we're really enjoying celebrating what they're doing and some of the projects we can get behind. But I think the thing that we want more from is people to get in touch to celebrate more things. We had a stand a couple of years back. We had a big banner saying promote your news and events for free, and not one person come up to us because maybe they're kind of thinking, what's the catch? But we want to showcase some of the stuff that maybe goes under the radar that's in the normal, local papers. So we tend to pick things that we cover a local watermill, for example, which is a wonderful little Aladdin's cave of a sort of museum as well. And that's things like that make a difference for us where we can help promote those people that need it most, really.
And I don't know about you, but in my area, in our street, we've got now a WhatsApp group, which obviously allows people in the group to let people know what's going on. And obviously that creates a little bit of a community in your own sort of area, which probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the lockdown situation. And I think what we've got to do is find a way to carry that on and make sure that once we're through this, and hopefully that's soon, and we don't get another occurrence of this or something similar, because obviously it's going to set us back. But it's using it as a catalyst to do something positive. And if that is just connecting to people that are on your doorstep, then that's great. At least that's something good that's come out of this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I it was maybe laugh when we were sort of outside clapping, NHS carers and things. And it's the first time I've ever spoke to some of my neighbours, and you think, this is awful. This is taking something like this. There's a guy across the road to me there that I talked to. And I think it's because there's obviously an element of we're all in this together, and it's that kind of, the spirit of, people have said the Blitz and that kind of thing. But it's like when you're kind of quite scared and there's people out there, it just does bring out the best in people. And I think it's been refreshing to see, particularly social media, work very much for the good, when sometimes people are very obsessed with the downsides of it, which obviously there is in all different areas. There's all sort of downsides of sort of trolls and people saying bad things, but it's been those positive stories which have really shone through, and seeing kids put pictures of rainbows in the in their windows. And I was able to connect a friend of mine who's a product engineer. He makes bespoke chandeliers that are absolutely gorgeous, and sort of Selfridges, and they're really, really beautiful works of art. And he wanted to promote something to get children involved, to come up with their own sort of chandelier that they could make that celebrates, this sort of time. And I was able to connect George with somebody local in where I live in Taunton who makes glass like this. And what happened in the end was that the child that won the competition was like a mobile chandelier made out of rainbows, and it was great because they were able to make it, and Kate made the glass that George showed her the project. And it was a nice collaboration between people of different ages, different areas of the country. And it raised some money. So, it's just been great to see something so positive come out of such a difficult time for so many people.
Yeah, and we get bombarded with the bad news, it's good to see that you've not gone down that road where you just repeat what probably the bad news people already know about. They can find that quite easily, can't they? It's the evening news or any news is generally more about the bad things that are going on than the good, and I think we all need to to focus on what is the good that's going to come out of every situation. And that's the thing. That's what, I've observed with what you've been doing with, encouraging people in the business community to do things maybe differently than they have done before. And connecting, like you've just talked about in several stories there, where you've connected people with other people that can help. And that, I think that's the thing we've got to focus on, isn't it? Like, not that we're in competition with everybody, but actually remember that, if we're a local area, then we're all actually should be working together. Even if we're doing something that's very, very similar, then we should be sort of sharing experiences and working together as much as we can.
Yeah, definitely. I think there is that strength in numbers thing, really, and a common goal. And often things can become fragmented in small communities when everyone tries to do their own little way of doing things. Actually just makes it harder. And it makes it harder for people to, confuses people with what the actual message is. So that's important. And then you mentioned about showcasing the news, the local news. We don't share any of the kind of the clickbait stuff. I mean, that's the thing is we tell the whole positive story. We don't share anything that say that. I just get frustrated with clickbait that's just about winning stats to websites. We're not obsessed with the visits to our website. We want to provide stuff that's just positive, that's going to, people are going to enjoy reading. It's going to make them feel good, because who wants to read really sad stuff that's just there to, that's kind of our sort of a big part of who we are is that we're called Word Gets Around, but we want it to be used in the positive way, as opposed to the twist of, as gossip and stuff that maybe isn't true. We like to showcase the best in people and best in our communities, really.
Yeah, and just mentioned Word Gets Around, and anybody that's a pop fan, is it all right to call it pop? Stereophonics. I think that you might as well share where your business name came from.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I decided to set up on my own, it's quite funny. My name's Paul Smith, and it's kind of, quite a generic name. And then somebody said, "No, well, you're a designer called Paul Smith." And I said, "Well, how's that going to go down on Google when you've got, you've got Paul Smith, the fashion designer? I'm not really going to win the SEO war on that one." So I wasn't sure what to call myself. He said, "Well, no, you should call yourself that, because you are a designer called Paul Smith, so you should play on that." I said, "No, I'm not doing that." And I wanted a name. I was very, very sure from early on that, okay, I'm a graphic designer, but I know that there was lots of other avenues I wanted to go down. So I intentionally didn't want to use design in the title, also creative, because I didn't know how it was going to happen at the time, but I just knew that there was other areas I wanted to expand in. So I wanted something that had scope to grow. And my favourite band are the Stereophonics from Wales, and their debut album's called Word Gets Around. And it was funny because I was sat there for ages trying to think of a name, and then I couldn't think of things. And I actually minimized my browser window on my computer, and my backdrop image on my machine was the Word Gets Around album cover. And I just laughed to myself, and I went, "That is brilliant." So I went online to see if the domain was available, and it was, and I couldn't believe it. So I got my wallet out and I bought it in 10 minutes, got it all sorted. And I rang up my father and I said, "I've got the business name." And he said, "Go for it." I went, "Word Gets Around." And he said, "Bang on." And the album's a brilliant album. I'm not on commission. And the album is about a small village in Wales, the first album, about gossip and storytelling. And it just hit home for me. It's one of my favourite albums because it just talks about community. And that's what it's all about. And it's people hearing stories and, things traveling around quickly. And I thought, that's what I do. I help people to market themselves more effectively, but in a positive way. I help people grow their business in terms of their branding, get them started. And and then 8 months into launching the business, I found myself in a situation of running my own business networking group, which I'd never heard of networking 8 months prior to that. I thought networking was all wires and cables. I didn't know what networking was. But I loved it because I loved connecting with people, and I love connecting other people to each other. It really, really fulfills me. And so the group's been going 8 years now. It's translated well onto online. and I'm really excited where we go next, because there's lots of opportunities to grow. And who knows what's in the future? Because it's word gets around in many ways. And
I think, it's brilliant. I think word gets around is perfect for you, Paul, because whatever you do, all you do connects back to that, and that's just sums everything up. And it doesn't curtail you like you've described. It's something that's it's a big sort of almost like a big subject matter, but actually you can really use it in an effective way, which you have. Sadly, Paul, we are getting to the end of our time here today, and I always ask my guests to sort of sum up what we've been talking about, and I generally say about 3 top tips. And so, have you got sort of 3 top tips for anybody that is thinking about how they can connect better with their community?
Yeah, I think top tips. Yeah, I guess the main number one is to ask for help. Ask for help locally and connect with people, and just start up a dialogue with people locally. And one of the things is it takes time. I get frustrated with a lot of people that expect things to happen overnight, and it's like it's a relationship locally, and it can open up so many doors if you do start that and build up a rapport with people, make those connections. What I've done locally by asking for help and because we're all guilty of sometimes not asking for help, but we all love helping people. If we know the answer to something, then we'll jump straight and go, I know. And when I started to do a lot more of that, it connected with me to lots more people locally. I've volunteered at 15 schools and colleges in the last 10 years across Somerset, and now I got to a stage where I was asked to come back to my former college and come and mentor some of the degree students, but being paid, which was great. And it's taken that time to nurture that. So I think, it's asking for help. It's connecting with people and not expecting it to happen overnight, because that's how relationships need to develop naturally. Mm-hmm. I guess second, alongside with that was kind of what you touched on earlier on, Mark, was about collaborating and not seeing that everyone is, that there's power in collaboration, because if you all team up, you all want the same thing. If you've got different ways of getting there, sometimes that can confuse people. But our networking group, I love it if there's 5 other graphic designers there, because I'm not going to be the right fit for some person, but somebody else will. But it means you've got extra people that are your advocates, that are local, that know the kind of maybe specialist work you do that they don't do. Collaboration in all forms in your communities, whether it's for local charities or events, or just supporting things, I think is very important on collaborating. And finally, on things local, which I guess for me is the big one, is kind of go for it. What's the worst that can happen? The biggest thing I've done, which I gave a talk this week to a networking group, and I got some amazing feedback. And what got me is just to go for it and try things, because I've said, if I look at myself 10 years ago, I was a completely different person. I was very much like, I'd say maybe to stuff, which we all know when we say maybe to stuff, it's pretty much a no. It's just a polite no, isn't it, really? So you want to just say yes to stuff. I mean, it's opened so many doors for me. I tried stand-up, which was terrifying. I said yes, just to try it. Did it. It was fine. I got to the final, which I couldn't believe. I've been, I was the guest speaker at the graduation ceremony for my former college, which was, in front of 300 people. And they told me the day before it was going to be on Facebook Live, which I was obviously terrified about. But it was fine. And actually, I really enjoyed it. And I think sometimes locally, it's great to connect with people locally. And everyone wants you to do well, because we're all proud of where we live in our communities. And by collaborating, by asking for help, and by saying yes to things and just see what happens, you can open up so many doors. And I think for me, that's the number one thing is connecting locally, collaborating and asking for help.
Brilliant. Summed up very nicely, Paul. I think there's so much potential and the way you're going, and looking forward to you helping me get to where I want to go. There's lots of exciting things coming up. So It's been great chatting today, and thank you for your time. And I look forward to seeing the progress you make as your business flourishes.
Likewise, Mark. It's been great to get to know you, and it's been an absolute pleasure to join you on this channel, and it's been a wonderful project to see grow for you.
Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed the episode, please take the time to leave a review on your chosen platform and share on social media. Don't forget to check out the Reluctant Leader Academy, where you'll find a free 15 questions every manager should be asking themselves checklist that you can download to keep you on track every day. Leadership is a choice. When you understand the right mindset, know the process to follow, and use key skills to keep things moving forward, you'll be on track to leave a lasting legacy. Until next time, be the best you can be and the inspiration for others to follow.